you're a small YouTuber, you already know the worst part isn't filming. It's everything around it. Research, titles, descriptions, tags. I tried to get an AI to do it in one afternoon. Let's see how it did. So I'm going to be showing you my exact workflow for YouTube content creation using Claude Cowork, starting from research all the way down to a thumbnail brief and a publishing checklist. And you'll have all of that done for you in a matter of minutes. I'm going to give you the exact prompts that I give Claude Cowork to make this whole workflow work seamlessly. So to download Claude Cowork, go to claude.com/product/cowork, and then you can click on download. Free plan doesn't have Claude Cowork, but the pro plan does. It's available on Mac OS, Windows, iOS, and Android. So there used to be a Cowork tab up here, but they integrated Cowork into the chat. So when you're on the Claude chat, there will be two tabs. There will be chat, and then there will be Cowork. And of course, in our case, we're going to be using Cowork today. Okay, so before I actually get into using Claude Cowork, I'm going to actually make a folder on my computer that I'm going to allow Claude Cowork to access. Okay, so within my YouTube Studio folder, I have scripts, research, descriptions tabs, thumbnails, briefs, and publish logs. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a text file describing my tone of voice for my channel. You can literally do this just in the Notepad app. So I'm just going to give it a title. And then under that, I'm just going to briefly describe my channel's tone of voice. So pretty much just describe what your channel is about, who your target audience is, how you talk on camera. And then if you want to save your note from your Notepad as a markdown file or just like a plain text file, you can go to File, Export As, and then Markdown. I'm just going to call it Channel Voice, and I'm going to export it. I have the file over here, and I'm just going to drop it in there. So now that we have all of our folders in place and we have our text file, now we can jump into Claude Cowork and get started giving it some prompts. So the first thing we're going to do, of course, is give Claude Cowork access to the files. So I'm going to give it this prompt. So it looks like it has it automatically set to Sonnet 5 on high. I would just leave this on default. Sonnet is the best for everyday tasks. So yeah, I'm just gonna send it this prompt. A few seconds later, Claude says that it's read my channel voice guide and now it's asking what we're gonna be working on. Okay, so the first thing that I want Claude Cowork to do for me is do some research. So I'm gonna hit send. So as you can see within the chat itself, it lists all of the things that it's doing in real time. And then on the right, there's a small window that's tracking its progress. So here are the 5 topic ideas that Claude Cowork just came up with. Overall, I would say these topic ideas are really great. I didn't do anything, like I didn't touch my files or anything. And there's a new file in research. It's the topic ideas that it just came up with. So yeah, I can just access that right there. Okay, so now that we did the research and we have our topics, which literally took like 2 minutes, like not even 2 minutes. Let's move on to the next one. So here's the next prompt I'm gonna give Claude Cowork. So I'm just gonna send this to Claude. Okay, so here's the script that Claude Cowork generated. It did exactly what I asked. It gave me a hook, problem, solution with a walkthrough, and then honest downside and CTA. I think probably what I like most is that it has a little bit of like personality in the script. Probably my favorite part of the script is where it's talking about like, so your video sits at like 40 views and the algorithm just shrugs and picking topics based on vibes. So the humor that it has in the script falls in line with my channel voice. So it's very honest and it's a little bit self-deprecating, and I show what actually happens even when it goes wrong. But moving on to the next prompt. So now that I have my script, I'm gonna generate different title options, a description, and tags. So I'm gonna be giving it this prompt. Once again, just took a few seconds. So you can choose among these title options that it came up with, and then it also generated a description, and then we have the timestamps. And then there's tags that you can add. Once again, I feel like this is a really good starting point, but I think probably my favorite one is the last one. I tried to beat the YouTube algorithm with a free AI tool. I don't know, I think a lot of people talk a lot about like algorithms, so I think that's pretty eye-catching. And then also the fact that it has the word free in it, that's another word that catches a lot of people's attention, of course. So the next thing I'm gonna get Claude Cowork to create for me is a thumbnail brief. and I'm gonna hit send. It is already going in the direction that I was already picturing, which is kind of cool, doing a like human versus algorithm kind of thing. And that's kind of the composition idea that Claude Cowork came up with here. It's keeping things really simple. So yeah, this is pretty perfect. So the final prompt that I'm gonna give Claude Cowork is creating a published checklist for the video. So I'm gonna give it this prompt. Okay, so we have the final folder filled with the file, and there it is. So while Claude Cowork doesn't actually film and edit and publish the video for me, it still saves the extra hour that I put into doing all the research and the writing for everything. Even just the research alone can take so long. It can take hours. I don't know about you, but I can just easily go down all kinds of different rabbit holes. What I really love about this process, just giving Claude Cowork my channel voice so it knows what kind of tone I want to have in my video. So it always knows exactly how I want to sound on camera. And then the other thing that I really love about it is there's less like back and forth and messiness that you get if you just choose to generate ideas and titles and scripts in a new chat. This method is a lot more satisfying. So you have everything right there, all beautifully organized on your desktop, on your computer. So if you're under 10,000 subscribers, all of the boring stuff around your video is probably costing you more time than the actual filming does. I'm gonna keep testing tools like this because this was actually a lot of fun and I'm really happy with the results. If that's something that sounds interesting to you, please consider subscribing.